Sunday fucking paper. Read all about it. Sunday.
Smell the ink.
Fucking paper. How about the presses?
Holy fuck.
Read all about it.
Jesus, holy.
Read all about it.
There she
Super Bowl
goes.
Sunday coming up today. Joe Biden in office. Lot of executive orders. Fitz dog.
Sounds like you're being tortured. All right.
Hey, listen.
Okay.
You want people to buy this fucking paper?
Oh, yeah, I got to get the papers ready for the... Don't tell anyone. We don't really turn pages. There we go. How are you, sir? What a
Looking
song.
good? Yeah,
What a
that
song.
song was fucking great, huh?
I emailed you back. It sounds like we should be entering a cage to that music.
David Chamberlain, who's a friend of the show, does a lot of... he's got a company called recordla.com if you're looking for some audio work.
Wow.
Also, our logo is... and by the way, it was kind of a revamp of Rob Duke's Sunday fucking Paper song, which was more punk rock, even though this was pretty hard on its own right.
Yeah.
Our Gilligan's Island logo brought to you by Craig Godet, or Godet. He says I always pronounce his name wrong. He's done a number of these for us.
It's Craig.
And by the way, we're soliciting some new songs, new graphics. Send them into fitzdogradio@gmail.com. And
Unbelievable how
put
many
them on the
people
show.
do this. It's so great.
It's so great.
Yeah. All right. My voice is back. I can't believe that was a week ago. Was that a week ago? Yeah.
Yeah. It was a week ago. Your voice was gone. And
No. It actually was 2 weeks ago.
Was it?
Last week, I was getting ready for that memorial service for my stepmom.
Right.
So we rushed through it.
Which was beautiful, by the way. We watched it. It was, I got to say, Maliki Mccourt. I think people in New York really know him much more so than the rest of the country. But he's a treasure. He's Frank McCourt's brother. And he's also an author who's wrote a book. He wrote Tiz, right? Wasn't that one his?
Who? No, that's Frank also.
Oh.
He wrote A Monk Swimming.
Oh,
I think.
right.
And then there's another one also.
But he sang that that beautiful song about the mountain time or something.
Yeah. And Cynthia, my stepmother, heard him sing that at my uncle's wake. And it was just in a room in the Bronx. And then all of a sudden, you hear this Irish song start up and everyone turns around and Maliki's just firing up this song. And at first you're like, this isn't going to work. And then like 30 seconds later, you're like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And he belts it out. I mean, fist clenched, singing at the top of his lungs. It was really amazing. I wish I had that much life now. That guy's got to be 80 years old.
You put him to shame screaming like a moron at the top of this podcast every week.
I think I heard my voice, actually.
He also, of course, it should not go without saying, I mean, Maliki's kind of the star of the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel Angela's Ashes.
Yeah.
Frank McCourt wrote that, but I'd say, I mean, obviously it's autobiographical, so Frank's writing about himself a lot, but so much of it was his younger brother Maliki.
Yeah.
Who's like an incredible character. Owned a bar in New York too that was very famous, like, in these like literary circles and stuff.
Yeah. That's the thing I miss about New York, is that those places exist. There's nothing in LA that compares to like Kennedy's up on 57th Street or McSorley's or Jonathan Swift's down in the East Village, like Irish bars that they don't. I think the intelligence of your crowd is inversely proportional to the volume of the music in your establishment. And Irish bars, they keep it fucking low because people are having conversations. They're communicating. And I just miss that. I miss like a cold winter night where you slip into a fucking pub and you just sit there until they throw you out at 2 a.m.
And with the lower music, it's easy to hear when the fights start.
That's right. Hit him again, boys!
To throw their ass out of the fucking street. No, there's so many. And oh my God, New York, are you kidding me? You're like, you know what? I want to go to Wolf's because I'm in a German bar mood. And it's like, whatever it is, New York has it, but there's also, first of all, it's a city. Los Angeles is not a city. It's a collection of these pathetic, ugly suburbs. But it's also, New York is like the after work drink. Kind of doesn't exist in LA. Yes, some people try to get it going, and they're usually younger people and all that, of course. In New York, it doesn't stop once you're married, and especially if now you have to go out to the suburbs. Like, you meet for a drink before you run to that train at Grand Central, you know? Like, that's even if you are completely domesticated at that point. Even those people are still going out for after work drinks.
And we never respected people that lived in Brooklyn because you lived in Manhattan so that you could do that. You could go from work to a drink after work, to a fucking foreign movie at the Film Forum, and then a diner after that that's open 24 hours. You know, you just can't accomplish all that in LA, and you're not driving, so you can do whatever you want.
I remember, and I thought it was a pretty good analogy, New York, when I moved to LA and realized, oh my God, this is awful, I was like, you know what New York sort of is like? It's like a giant hotel where everyone has their room, but before they go up to their room, like after work or whatever, like they all drink in the lobby. Manhattan's a giant lobby of international, especially international, like visitors and people coming in, business, leisure, you know, all of that is there, but it's this giant lobby where everyone is drinking, trying to meet people before going up to their rooms.
I would move back to New York City in a minute, but my wife, who grew up on the Upper West Side, is done. She never wants to go back. Would you go back?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, in a weird, well, it's very odd talking about New York now because it's changed so much, and I guess there's a lot more crime is on its way up again and all that. But I would say it's never thought of as a retirement location, you know, because it's such it's such a hard city in many ways. Like, it's challenging and it's exhausting. But think about if you went back to New York, all right, and you can afford your apartment. Like, there's no pressure with affording your apartment, and you don't have a job. Like, what a playground.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, it's unbelievable. Like, when I say world class in everything I'm about to say, I'm saying either the best in the world or top 2 or 3. World class opera, world class stage, world class music, world class art. I mean, world class museums. Almost every one of those, I'm thinking it's number 1 in the world, and maybe 2 to Paris a couple of times. I don't know. Anyway, it's incredible.
And also the speed. You go into a New York deli and you ask for a fucking ham and egg on a roll with cheese. Yeah. Literally walk quickly to the cash register because it's going to be there by the time you pay.
And people watching, it's like any major city in the world city, the people watching in New York is I mean, just taking a walk in New York. And you can walk through like so many distinct cultures, hearing the different languages. It's incredible.
And also the sense of humor. People are sharp. Like, you ever watch Billy on the Street? And he's in New York City, and the reactions he gets from New Yorkers, they are, I mean, he's not the funny one. They're the funny ones.
Yeah. Well, I told you that story. I was in New York, and it's the most perfect thing ever. I went out, and I was jaywalking with this guy. Like, all of a sudden, we're like, oh, that car's, the light is about to turn green. And we decide to go, knowing we kind of won't make it, but big deal, whatever. So we start going. All of a sudden, and I don't know the guy at all. No, we didn't exchange any words. And all of a sudden, honk, honk, honk. Here's the guy next to me. And the guy just turns to me. He's like, dude, easy. You're in a fucking Mazda. Like, it had nothing to do with what was going on, yet it perfectly summed up. Like, maybe know your place.
Right. Well, that Nora Ephron documentary is fucking great because that's her. That's her to a T. She literally walks around the city like a curmudgeon and
Oh, wait, are you talking
about
Fran Lebowitz?
Oh, what did I say?
Nora Ephron. But Nora Ephron had a great documentary, too, about her writing process. And everything.
Yeah, no, Fran Lebowitz.
Yeah, with Scorsese.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's
great.
very good.
Yeah. It's so weird that her sister is Annie Leibovitz.
That's
Isn't
not
that
true.
her sister?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
no.
it is. I think it is.
There's no way.
Absolutely positive. It's her sister.
Really?
Yeah.
You're positive.
Positive.
All right. You seem to be positive about a lot of things on this podcast, and then we get to a little section called corrections.
This one comes from Simon Brown. He says, I laughed really hard when Greg mispronounced the word mispronounced. Don't correct it. I enjoy it at the same way I listen to Bill Burr struggle to read the ads for his podcast. Jordan Fiend then says, hi, Fitz. Just want to let you know I was very amused when you mispronounced pronounced as pronounced when describing how someone corrected your mispronunciation of Median and then also mispronounced the Colombian capital as Medellin. It's not a Tyler Perry movie. Instead of correctly as Medellin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, when correcting yourself. Maybe work on your Spanish or just send your kids to go pick up Colombian Coke next time. Don Gilroy says Cloris Leachman on NPR's Fresh Air claimed that Mel Brooks told her that Blucher, as in Frau Blucher, means glue in German, hence the reason for the horse whinnies. However, this is not true. Blucher bears no resemblance to German for glue. It's a common name, so that shouting Frau Blucher is essentially equivalent to shouting Miss Jones.
Right.
So,
I heard about it. Yeah. Some people were claiming it might be Yiddish. It's not even that, apparently. So it's a very well-known rumor that I fell prey to because I had brought up that I had heard that, and I think it is because Mel Brooks propagated it. So, yeah, I think I read why then did the horse whinny, because it was kind of like it was their version of dun dun. It's like maybe Frau Blucher. It's like dun dun. Instead it was like they put the horse in there.
Well, yeah, it was just the idea that what does she do to this horse when nobody's around?
All right, I like that too.
Tour dates have been canceled for February and March. However, March 25th.
Shocking.
Yeah. March 25th through 27th, I'll be at Raleigh's at Good Nights in Raleigh. And then I'll also be in San Francisco and Philadelphia coming up after that. Go to fitzdog.com. Get your tickets now. Don't hesitate because there's no way they'll be canceled.
Well, I think they won't be. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with these variants, but I mean, Main Street, Santa Monica, packed.
Back in business.
And it was packed this morning, by the way. Like everyone brunching out there. It's, of course, outdoor dining only, but pretty crowded.
Yep.
Yupper do.
All right, let's get to it. The front page, people.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
There it is.
All right.
All
Read
right. Speaking of the virus,
Which we do.
a Corona hug tent provided a safe embrace at a Colorado elderly home. It had been at least 8 months since Linda Hartman touched her 77-year-old husband Len, who has dementia and has been at an assisted living center in suburban Denver for the year. Thanks to a hug tent, Linda got to squeeze her husband, albeit while wearing plastic sleeves and separated by a 4-millimeter thick clear plastic barrier. So basically this thing is like a body condom for hugs.
Right.
But Linda goes on, and you would think it was a lot more than just a hug when she goes on to describe it. Quote, I really needed it. I really needed it, the 75-year-old said after her brief visit. It meant a lot to me, and it's been a long, long time.
I wonder if she's getting turned on by him, or is it the plastic? Is she going to go home to her Florida house and finger blast on that plastic-covered sofa now?
Well, I'm wondering if she got finger blasted through 4 millimeters of plastic in the home. I don't know what's going on here, Linda.
Yeah. I think they put a fly on it, on the bodysuit. There is a fly. You can get it done.
And, listen, Len may have dementia, but he ain't forgetting Linda's titties. Shout out to Dave Attell. Can we even do that? Repeat that Attell bit?
What is it?
I'm probably going to slaughter it. Sadly, I'm not going to slaughter the parts that I should change. But it was something like, he talks about blacking out, getting blackout drunk, and he goes, or as I call it, time travel. By the way, I am absolutely slaughtering this, and I'm just getting to the one part I know. But it was basically like you start out at a bar. Next thing you know, you're in another bar. Next thing you know, you're in Atlantic City. Like next thing you know, it's 4 years later, and you're working in a McDonald's, and you have a crush on the retarded girl who's working the fryer. She might be retarded, but her titties ain't retarded. That is not me. That is the great Dave Attell, and I definitely slaughtered it. But but that R word,
a couple of
that R
McNuggets
word
later,
is in
I'm
there.
back at her place doing her doggy style. That wasn't the plan, but that's the way she passed out.
Nice. The collected works of never to be said again Dave Attell material. Oh, wait, here, Chris put it up there.
I think you kind of nailed it.
Oh boy, I'm all over the place. Yeah, maybe I did. All right. Yeah, I don't think we have to go back into it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, next story.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I was still reading that. It's health. What is it?
California man, could be the new Florida man, was arrested Saturday and accused of hiding in Chicago's O'Hare International Airport for 3 months. The man told police that COVID-19 had rendered him too scared to travel home to California. Oh, yeah, so I'll stay in an airport for 3 months.
Yeah, let me stay in Chicago O'Hare.
But not to blow the ending, he does not catch COVID. So if you want to rest assured about traveling, the dude spent 3 months in an airport, did not catch COVID. So
And constantly begging people for stuff.
yeah, he survived on food provided by strangers. They spotted the 36-year-old Aditya Singh and requested ID. They said he removed his mask and presented a badge which belonged to an airport operations manager who reported it missing in October. So he faces criminal trespass. Bail was set at $1,000. The judge said if he came up with the money, he would be prohibited from returning to the airport. He does not have a criminal background. He has a master's degree in hospitality and is unemployed. Unemployed. After 3 months, you couldn't get a job at Cinnabon?
Yeah, I mean, you're in hospitality.
Right.
Come on.
So he can't go back to the airport, so now he's going to spend the next 3 months in a Greyhound station.
If I'm, yeah, why couldn't he? Exactly. And now they're not letting him back to the airport. That's not a good way to get rid of him.
Yeah, right.
California man at least has, unlike Florida men's, California man will be all stories about California men who are out of state.
Yeah.
I don't know why. If I'm in an air, I mean, I know we both like to get to airports, quote unquote, on time, which means just enough time to get on the plane. If I'm in an airport for more than an hour, it's so depressing to me.
I love it. I fucking love airports. I love the people watching. I love the energy. People. It's like New York City. Everybody's got somewhere to go. There's some pace to it. You know, even the concessions are fast.
No.
It's the only place in LA where there's any fucking speed at restaurants is at airports.
No, there's a ton of depressing people who don't know how to travel, who don't know how to do seemingly anything. And if you're in O'Hare, I don't know, I'll sound so mean saying this, but there's something to me that bums me out on how incredibly fat Americans are.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not knocking a person who has trouble with their weight in this, but when it's like finding someone who's not obese is like Where's Waldo in O'Hare.
And also does not affect the clothing. I think Lululemons should have a fucking scale and you have to weigh in to buy yoga pants. They're not for everybody.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's something about that. And then everyone, by the way, pre-virus, I remember being on planes, and you know me, I'm the furthest thing from a germaphobe, but I'm like, honestly, does everyone have a wet cough in this fucking country?
Right.
That's all I'm hearing is rolling coughs everywhere I look.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, bums me out. I don't know. I should ask myself why it bums me out, but I just wish we weren't so gluttonous. and unhealthy.
Yep. Well,
And I'm not a picture of health. I'm just saying, though, I think
you
other
lost
people
a lot
should
of
be.
weight in the last. Wait, why did you lose weight? Was it because of your throat?
Yeah, well, I started, with the advice, by the way, to everyone, but especially if you have like reflux, which is still baffling to me, is try not to eat 3 hours before bed. Just that move alone does a lot of the work for you.
Yeah.
I also think my body didn't want to be fat. I just said, shut up. I'm going to show you what I can do for about 25, 30 years. And then once I was like, I'm not going to eat like an idiot, all of a sudden things went well.
But you don't even exercise very much, do you?
No, and I really should more, of course.
You want to play some paddle tennis this week?
For the brain, for the tear. Yes, we're doing that. Commit to it. Done.
I've been out there with Owen kicking his ass. It's so fucking frustrating to play your 20-year-old son in paddle tennis. Because when I play you or Matt Malloy or whoever, like I hit a drop shot, I just turn my back and walk away because I know you probably won't even try. Whereas with Owen, no matter where I put the ball, he fucking gets there so fast. I mean, he was a former soccer player.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and he's just got the eye-hand coordination that I never had. He has picked this sport up so fast.
Wow.
He's probably played it 20 times in his life, and I actually have to play him pretty hard to win.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Normally you turn your back on your drop shots because they've hit your side of the net. So it's a safe bet.
All right, let's talk about Balloon Boy. Okay, this is a story from a decade ago, but it's back in the news.
Yeah, why?
Balloon Boy captivated TV audiences in 2019 as the parents of a 6-year-old.
2009.
What did I say?
2000. You mispronounced it. 2019.
What percentage do we get right, actually?
I don't know. I just pronounce UFO right. I think that'll be an easy one.
The kid's name was Falcon, ironically. He was reported to be taken away in a large UFO-like balloon, thousands of feet in the air. News media helicopters tracked the balloon. National Guard sent 2 helicopters in a rescue attempt. Denver airport temporarily closed as thousands awaited news of the boy's fate. Falcon's parents, Richard and Mayumi Heen, told authorities he was accidentally carried thousands of feet into the sky in a homemade weather balloon experiment gone wrong. But, Mike Gibbons, after the balloon landed, authorities did not find Falcon inside. Instead, he had been hiding in a box in the family attic the entire time. Parents pleaded guilty to a hoax.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the governor pardoned the parents, scrubs their records clean, and allows Richard, who is convicted of a felony, to vote and pursue a general contractor's license. So he's going to be
good. Richard can vote. Richard has a say
right.
in our elected officials with the way Richard operates at home. Good.
only for
us.
higher office. Yeah, he's going to be a great contractor. Listen, you're going to love this attic I put together for you. It's got a kid's bed, a toilet, totally soundproofed. And I put in a skylight in case you want a good view of, whatever's floating by.
I remember I was on a late night show. I don't even know which one. And we were doing that story. And I was very excited, because it recalls the famous guy who went up in a lawn chair with all the balloons and with a gun, like a BB gun. And when he got too high, he would start shooting balloons. So I'll just leave it to all our listeners to fact check that. But that, whether it's true or not, is a very famous story. He went up in like one of those crappy chaise lounges.
Yeah.
With balloons tied all around it.
Wow.
This is pre-drone. He was a drone before drones.
That's the kind of shit you think of while you're high.
Oh, think of that guy. I mean, I'd like to paint a picture where he's just like, high, but also so bored.
Yeah.
And it's a big like, I wonder if you think, and I'm going to try it.
Right.
And then it's like, but I really need to think it through. That's right. Gun. Let me bring a gun with me. I think I thought it all through now.
And then he gets up there, 1,000 feet in the air, fucking forgot the BBs. God damn it.
Also, the oxygen's getting a little thin up here.
Let's go international.
Oh, wait. I'm so professional. I'm just checking my levels, and I think they've been a little hot. All right, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, international, man. Are you kidding me? Jamaica's marijuana shortage, which I did not know about, has been branded a, quote, cultural embarrassment. Bad weather, coronavirus restrictions on night farming, and a drop in the number of farmers has led to a marijuana shortage in Jamaica. It's a cultural embarrassment, said Tristan Thompson, a consulting and brokerage firm for the country's legal cannabis industry. It's so funny.
In a related,
I have thought about that. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. In a related story, Jamaica's GDP jumped 375% this past quarter.
They're slightly more productive. Yeah, it's about today, not mañana.
The entire country woke up and was like, what is this shitty music that's playing all the time?
This music kind of doesn't go anywhere. It's just a really chill beat. And I don't know. It doesn't make me want to get out there and tie balloons to a chaise lounge.
Yeah. And tankers filled with Doritos and Twinkies have stalled out in the docks.
It really will change. Imagine if all of a sudden there was none. It would change things. Crime is up.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if crime goes up or down.
It's funny because kids today will have no memory that, like, Jamaica can't compete with American weed now. You know what I mean? But it used to be the story about Jamaica, was obviously these giant joints.
Right.
And it was a source. And I'm sure a lot of it then, obviously was shipped into the country and stuff. And there was always Hawaii, Maui Wowie, and all that stuff. But now it's
Colombian
like kids are growing it in their closet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you at BU, the rugby team, who you knew a lot of the guys, so we went down to play on spring break. We went down to play rugby in Jamaica, and we were in Kingston, the country's capital, and playing their national rugby team. So we get in the first night, and first I'll tell you about the rugby part, but we were not fit to play, which is what I'll tell you in a second from the night before. But they had us play at like 1 p.m. or something like that. We get out there. It was, I think, 100 degrees or more. It was so hot on the field, and they ran circles around us. And it was a very different, Americans don't play rugby well. Americans kind of bring a football element to it. We're way more physical. And, we had Brits on the team, and they would constantly telling us, it's about not getting hit. It's about using their momentum to take them down. You're not trying to stick them and put them on his back, because that's going to hurt you and waste your energy and all that stuff. So anyway, we then have a second match with them the next day, and they killed us, and we were furious. We're like, fuck this. They're like, 1 o'clock again. We're like, yeah, we'll see you here. And we show up at 4 because it was cooler then, and we just beat the shit. We did the opposite. We went so physical. We never let them run. We basically were grabbing every fucking one of them constantly, and luckily we got our revenge. Now, the first night we get there, talking about the stereotype and the reputation that Jamaica had, it was like, we got to get weed. And we're like, all right, go at it. How do we get weed? We're staying in this motel/condo place. And we just sent 3 guys out to get weed. They came back with a half-gallon milk carton, those cardboard things, 5 inches by 5 inches and a foot tall, packed. And the guy goes, he goes, just take this. And it was like $10, and you can fill it, you can pack it as much as you want.
No shit.
Yeah, and they went in and they did that. So we get it back to the room, and we're all like, well, how the fuck are we going to smoke it? And everyone's like, I could carve an apple. I got the fucking toilet paper. Everyone had their own theory on how we would smoke it, and none of us brought shit on the plane. So what we wound up doing is we just put it in the sink and just lit it all on fire. and we closed all the windows and we put rolled up towels against the door cracks, and the whole room was a smoke out.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's part of the Rastafarian culture. I don't think it's illegal there, is it?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, it was
Dude,
everywhere.
how was the body odor in those scrums?
Yeah, no, that happens with the Europeans as well, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was not good, not good.
Yeah,
They were
that's
very
right.
good though. I do have to say that. We basically cheated to beat them.
Now, it's not another country, but it might as well be. Let's get to some Florida, man.
Oh, and I read some letters. People want to hear our newspaper crinkles. So let's keep those little music stings separate from these beautiful. Here's another one, a bonus one. Florida man. According to Newport Richie, I love that name just because I think most psychos are named Richie, or most Richies are psychos. That's a better way of saying it. According to Newport Richie police, 22-year-old Matthew Levman was arrested early Sunday morning after he twice called 911 to find a ride home. According to a court complaint, which notes Letham cursed at the call taker during the call. The arresting officer said he offered to call Levman a taxi, but Levman said he didn't have money and began walking home. Levman then called 911 a second time to ask for a ride.
It's bad customer service.
The complaint states, and the officer arrested him. Levman was charged with misuse of the 911 system, as well as possession of marijuana.
Of course. Of course he had marijuana.
But that is not the story. The story is his mugshot, which shows on his forehead a very dark, bold, incredibly defined tattoo of the state of Florida right between his eyes and up onto his forehead. Look at that thing.
Yeah. He's the Harry Potter of rednecks.
If you are listening to this podcast, it is a black, solid black shape of Florida that begins, like the keys are right between his eyes, and it goes up to basically almost mid-forehead where the panhandle is.
Yeah. I mean, that's a commitment.
I think every tattoo, even that tattoo artist is like, all right, listen, pal, it's not me. I mean, I just tattooed 13 swastika tattoos in the form of a necklace around a guy. But I think this one's going to be regrettable.
Yeah, I can't do this one. For ethical reasons, I can't do this one.
Now, in this guy's defense, he went in for a tattoo of the state of Texas, but he couldn't afford it.
Which actually brings up the point. How cool would it be to shave your head and tattoo a globe on your head?
Interesting. Just so you can keep the time zone straight?
Keep the time zone straight. I think it'd be great teaching tool for the kids that you've abandoned if you ever see them again.
Yeah. Daddy, I think you have a little melanoma in Southeast Asia.
Now, is that an archipelago or do you have cancer, Dad?
No, imagine if this was his birthmark. If you have a birthmark that's Florida, like, get the priest. They're going to be like, forget the 3 6s. This is the mark of the beast.
Right. Yeah, they have to stab you in the heart. They have to feed you to the alligators. If there's going to be a book of Florida Man, which I think there probably is because there's a website, this is the cover.
He has to be on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's never going to get, hey, where are you from? Never. All righty.
And he'll never get, where are you going with your life?
Yeah. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
I want Trump to get that now that he's trying desperately to be a Florida man.
I wonder if anybody's ever gotten a tattoo of the globe on their head. It just seems like it's just sitting there waiting to happen.
Yeah. All right, I bet we're going to get some answers. We could Google it at some point.
Yeah.
I
All
like
right.
that.
Let's do some entertainment. Man, we're flying through today, Mike.
I
Holy
love it.
shit.
I'll slow it down. I'll slow it down. All right, what do you got? Oh, we were going to talk about Pan's Labyrinth
Pan's
last
Labyrinth, which I watched with my daughter. I forget why, but I secretly
week. Bonding?
ate 5 grams of edible marijuana, and thank God I did, because man, do you want to go for a ride with this movie? You just let go into it. It takes you to some I mean, it's like Gabriel Marquez, whatever. It's that Latin magical realism.
Right.
And it's part fantasy, part real, and it's dark. It's super dark, but at the same time, it's got a light that breaks through it. It's incredible.
Well, you have to remember the fairy tales were incredibly dark, and so they're rooted in that and whatever. Not to go off on my Silence of the Lambs thing, but, you know, Freudians, especially, I'm spacing on his name, you know, have a field day with, you know, with fairy tales, and it's important that they have this dark element because that's what they're speaking to in children, because children have, even if it's not expressed, many of them have, you know, these tremendous natural fears of like abandonment.
Yeah.
So you have Hansel and Gretel, but Hansel and Gretel was crazy dark.
Yeah.
The
all those
stepmom
Grimm's
convinces the new
tales.
dad, let's kill your kids. We're going to kill your kids. You're going to go dump them in the woods.
Yeah. Or like how many kids that their parents remarried and they've got an evil stepmom who is not treating them well at all, but treats her own kids extremely well. Like that's a real thing.
That is a real thing. Luckily, I escaped that. I wouldn't say we were mistreated.
Were you treated?
We were treated below her biological children,
Yes,
for sure.
you were.
Yeah. But some of that's hard to remember because she really did that problem got better.
Yeah.
For sure.
All bad parents become great grandparents.
Great
Erin's
grandparents.
dad was not a great dad, but man, was he a good grandfather.
Oh, please. My mom with my kids, it's like I come in, she's down on the floor playing with them. I'm like, when did you learn to do that?
Would it have been easier to get on the floor when you were 30?
The only time I've seen like kids' things on the floor and a kid down there is you above screaming, pick up your shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Totally.
So that was great. Highly recommend. I mean, it's an old movie, but I'm giving it a shout out.
Yeah.
And then more recently, I already talked about part 1 of the Tiger Woods documentary. I think it's on HBO. And I'm sorry to people that don't have HBO because, you know, look, it's an expense not everybody can afford. But I can, so I'm going to talk about it. I can for now. It depends on if these dates happen in the spring, whether or not I'll continue my HBO subscription. But the part 2 of it takes a turn. The part 1 is like a nice, it's not nice, it's a very truthful, raw look at his relationship with his dad. And it sort of tails off with how fucked up his dad was. But man, part 2... It just goes deep into what a sexual freak he is. And with, by the way, Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan. Those were his boys. They went into Vegas, and there's these women, probably men too, but I think mostly women, that are like VIP concierges, and you just hire them, and they just get you pussy. They get you into the clubs. They tell you which clubs you're going to. They make sure you're on the guest list. They make sure you got a booth. Table service, make sure that there's a dozen beautiful women there that are all ready to go, and they keep it all low profile so that people can't see what's going, you know, and that's what he did every weekend that he wasn't playing golf. He was in Vegas with these guys.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of, they were trying to point out how new to it and naive he was, and you know, he was still acclimating, you know, to his fame still and having problems with it, and he like asked like Barkley or Jordan, I think it was Jordan. he asked Jordan, he's like, what? And like they're in a VIP, and it's like, girls, you want to come party with these guys? And all of a sudden their booth or whatever is filled with girls, and he's like, what do I say to them? And Jordan's like, you tell them you're Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah, and at one point, like Tiger had 10 women in his room at the same time, and a lot of it tied into his father's relationship with women, which is he cheated on his mother, which was very traumatic for Tiger because he loved his mom, and then you just see him. He meets this amazing woman. This wife of his was so great. And then he just fucking shits all over her and their kid. And here's what I love, is they ask him in an interview about family, and he goes on about how family is the most important thing in the world, and it's all I care about. And you just realize every celebrity, when they say that, I just want to go, fuck you, shut the fuck up. You are on a movie set 6 months of the year away from your kids. You don't get to now say it's the most important thing in your life. You can't. You can't play golf. You can't be gone every fucking week all year and say your kids are the most important. Not everybody has to say their kids are the most important thing to them. Just be honest and say, my wife is an amazing woman because I can't be there a lot. Golf is the number one thing for me, and thank God she's there. Say that.
Yeah. Occasionally you'll see a very honest Oscar speech, and of course I just have to thank them because they're so patient and allow me to be this self-obsessed,
Right.
So yeah, I thought it was a very interesting, but I kind of like him more now. Especially the very ending, I didn't realize that comeback. I don't really follow golf, but 2 years ago or whatever, that was extraordinary. Him winning. It was the Masters again, right?
2019 Masters. He hadn't won in a long fuck. He hadn't won a major in a long fucking time. And to go back to the Masters, which is where he first I think it was his first major that he won. And he was very young at that time. And how excited people were that this guy, could do it at that young age. And then to see him as one of the oldest guys to ever win the Masters. And you sort of felt like America's but you know what? America's ready to take him back, but they also they went from loving him to completely rejecting him when he had his problems. And all his sponsors dropped him. All these guys that love Tiger Woods, Cadillac and Rolex, they were all up his ass. He's the greatest. And the second there was any kind of problems, they dropped his ass.
Right.
And now everybody's back again, but he's a little bit world weary about it.
Norm Macdonald has that great bit. Everyone should look it up on Tiger Woods, and how, everyone's vilifying him, exactly what you were saying. When it turns out, is he really the sex addict? And Norm breaks it down to how many opportunities, he's like, do you think he has to cheat versus the average man,
Yeah.
And then how often is he exercising that compared to the average man would bat about 100% cheating given one opportunity. Anyway, it was really funny.
Right.
Yeah, it was very interesting about his dad, and yeah, I had a theory also about his injuries, and I'm probably wrong, but some guys you're just like, you weren't built to be that big. You weren't built to have that much muscle. And that's what happens with a lot of these injuries with guys who are absolutely, some even running backs or whatever, whether it's the hamstring pull or whatever, it's like you're pulling your ligaments off of your bones. You're pulling tendons way harder than they're meant to be. Now, obviously there's probably a way to do it balanced where you're strengthening everything along the way.
Yeah.
But after a certain point, even your bones aren't meant to have this incredibly strong of a machine around it.
No, it's this kid Clem McCann when I was growing up. He put a fucking Corvette engine into a goddamn AMC Gremlin. He's just.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So you're Tiger. All of a sudden, you have this giant V-frame, really big shoulders, and this torque you're putting on. Your knees looking up at you like, what are you doing up there?
Exactly. Well, and then he got into this whole thing where, remember, he was training with the Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
and apparently benching like 350. And it's like, I think the reason why he was great was I'm a firm believer that he was doing yoga when nobody else was. And I think that's why he was so great. Not only physically, but mentally, yoga really trains you to focus and let go. Golf is all about letting go. It's
Right.
about forgetting about that bad shot you just had. Because the moment you start thinking, I'm playing bad today, now you're playing bad today.
Right. It's also about just absolutely forgetting and putting out of your mind your family for about 4 hours, maybe even longer if you drink after it. And then
Dude,
do it again the next day.
we
There's
have
my weekend. Back to work.
We have so many fucking... I will come back from golf, and my wife will be like, hey, how's Jeff's wife doing with the cancer? And I'll be like,
Shit, I knew I forgot something.
he birdied 7. So she must be doing okay. He made a 12-footer on the 18th, so I'm sure she's fine.
His girlfriend's healthy. She carried his clubs. All right, I watched the documentary, oh boy, on HBO. Sorry, listeners without HBO. But Sophie and I wanted to watch something, and so I clicked on it. I'm like, let's give it 10 minutes, see if we like it. It's called Fake Famous. The premise, which you learn immediately, is a New York Times journalist who would write about media for the Times does this experiment. They have giant casting sessions in Los Angeles, and they're looking for 3 people who want to be influencers. They want to be very, very popular with lots of followers on Instagram and get free stuff, sent to them and take free trips and all that. Anyway, that's the premise, and it gets pretty interesting. It's the pulling back the curtain, and like I didn't know super famous like Kim Kardashian. I didn't know, naively, I guess, how many bots she has. They're estimating over half her followers are not real. So even those people who get, 500,000 for one mention of a product, which I think Kim got, like that, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he goes into it and he breaks down why the money knows that that's true, but they're just not caring now. So anyway, they try to make these 3 people, and it's you learn a lot about how fake, and I know I sound completely too naive saying this, but you learn how fake so many of these influencers are. Like, not just fake like they're, and that's why the word's in the title, not just fake like they're like a fake celebrity, right? And they're fake famous, as the title says, but all the real lies in their posts. Because I thought most of them are. They're getting their trip to Tulum. Yeah, they have to pay them back. So now they're Instagramming like crazy from Tulum. Well, what you learn is like they didn't even go to Tulum.
Oh, no shit. Really?
No, that's where it's interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So of course, many of them do. Don't get me wrong. But when they're trying to make it to that Tulum level, there's a lot of lying. Yeah.
Dude, Aaron works in a doctor's office, and so they have a subscription to People Magazine for the waiting room, and now they got rid of them all, or they don't put them out anymore because I guess you're not supposed to. So she brought home People Magazine. Let me tell you something. I couldn't fucking put it down because it's pictures of people's weddings and stuff,
Yeah.
and I didn't know I cared. And it's amazing. And the amazing thing is that these people sell photos. I'm trying to think of whose wedding it was.
Oh, of course. No, and the first pictures of the baby?
Yeah, there was a picture. There were pictures from, what's her name? Pam Anderson's new wedding. This is her 4th wedding, by the way.
All
and
right.
she, and it was like, so they escaped up to Canada, to some small town in British Columbia where her grandmother's from, and she bought the house up there, and they're having the wedding there. Keep it private, 20 guests. And here's all the photos.
They didn't
It's like,
escape People Magazine or
Right.
that contract.
but how much money? She probably made $10 million for selling those photos.
It has to be her last hurrah on that type of stuff. Are you kidding me?
How does she look, by the way? I couldn't tell from the photos. She had a veil on.
Unlike you, I did not read People Magazine yet. Also, People Magazine does all
Don't
the
judge
celebrity.
me.
They do all the celebrity stuff, and then of course, then it's like, and at least one like missing white woman, or white woman killed by her husband.
Right.
Just to keep everybody interested.
And then there's always like, they're just like us. And you see like Julia Roberts. Do you remember when you lived on 88th Street?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. It was exactly 88th.
Yeah, when you lived on 88th Street. Well, I remember because I used to crash on your couch every week for a couple of years. And I remember one time, one of your roommates, it might have been Brickner, called. There was a bagel shop on the corner of, was it 2nd Avenue?
No, it might have been Lex right there.
Lex.
Yeah.
So he called and he goes, dude, Julia Roberts is here. She's walking her dog. And I was like, holy fucking shit. So we run to, and he's like, she's walking right past. So we run to the window and we look out, and her dog took a shit. And we watched Julia Roberts bend over and pick up dog shit. And I remember thinking, I don't know what I would want to see more than that. That was so degrading.
You left out the part. You're like, where's it? And then it was like, she's walking down like the street and running to the front, whipping open the blinds, like almost like she then saw, because we were on the ground floor, and all of a sudden blinds get ripped open, and then there's 3 fucking bros staring right at her. Yeah.
And then what was the other one?
One little story. The Secret Explosive Woody Allen doc series is coming out, to HBO.
Coming out on where? HBO?
Are we sponsored by HBO?
We should
for
probably
Christ?
give out our HBO password to people.
In a move to spark controversy, HBO is bringing an explosive investigative documentary series about embattled filmmaker Woody Allen to the screen. It's directed by Oscar-nominated documentarians, and it's going to be a 4-part series titled Allen versus Farrow. Sorry, my reading's bad today.
They could also call it.
Yeah.
They could also call it Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex with My Daughter, but we're afraid to ask.
I wonder how many people know that's a reference to one of his movie titles. So, where are we here? It goes behind decades of sensational headlines to reveal the private story of one of Hollywood's most notorious and public scandals, the accusation of sexual abuse against Woody Allen involving Dylan, his then 7-year-old daughter, with Mia Farrow. And then, of course, it's the subsequent custody trial and the revelation of Allen's relationship with Mia Farrow's daughter, Soon-Yi Previn. I am really interested to see this. So I haven't finished his book yet, but I really do enjoy reading it. It's on my bedside table, and I fall asleep to it too often, but I should just knock it out. But I really, from everything I've heard, I think he's innocent he's not innocent of marrying Mia Farrow's daughter. Don't get me wrong there. But
that didn't help his case. But
this Dylan thing, I mean, 2 trials have looked at it and multiple investigations. I am biased. I do want him to be innocent. Of course. I mean, but I really am rooting for that more than the average person because I'm such a fan. And my daughters, unlike
fan of pedophilia?
Unlike your kids, my daughters won't watch his films because of it.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, you're judging him before knowing the facts.
Yeah. What about Walt Disney? Why don't you stop watching all Disney movies? Guy was a fucking Nazi.
Well, my kids are half Jewish, so half of them, they watch half his stuff. Or they watch every movie halfway through. So, yeah, I don't know. What are your... I do remember trying to separate the man from the artist.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about something like this. And, I think it's very tricky because no case of pedophilia should ever go unpunished. And I think the main reason being you don't want it to ever happen again. But as far as I know, it never did happen again. If it did happen this one time, it never happened with anybody else in his entire life, which is always like a big red flag because
there's a lot of red flags. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a red flag also that there was the memories of it changed. There was a big effort by Mia Farrow to put thoughts into Dylan's head.
Yep.
And again, I don't want to dismiss this but I just think it's been so long and there's so many extenuating circumstances that you kind of have to just write it off.
And some of the kids have come to Woody's defense.
Yeah.
Even though they've lived in that household with an incredibly angry Mia Farrow, at him, and for many justifiable reasons. So anyway, I'm interested to see where this documentary comes out. What's the most interesting thing to me is who's his son that's very with the Me Too movement and the art?
Ronan.
So Ronan Farrow takes journalism very, very seriously.
He won the Pulitzer, I think, for his article about Harvey Weinstein.
And did he really? He did win the Pulitzer?
Absolutely, positively.
The big thing about him, and he was coached very heavily on this during it, was this. I mean, you are about to take down very, very powerful people. And these are it is hard. You will ruin these people for life if you're right, and you'll also ruin them for life if you're wrong.
Right, exactly.
In addition, you're going to ruin your life if you're wrong. So you have to do the most thoroughly investigative, exploration into this, and make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So this guy who thinks that way and walks the walk is convinced Woody's guilty.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting to me because this is not only close to home, it's in Ronan Farrow's home. And he has his mom. And I think a lot of journalists would say it's 100% impossible to be objective if you are too close to a story.
Right.
Even if you know how to be objective and you've been coached and trained and schooled and you practice it. When it's too close to home, you don't realize all the blind spots you have. So I'm interested to see, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Ronan will be a part of this. He especially won't be a part of it if they're documenting and finding out more often than not that he might not be guilty of this.
Directors really are interesting people. They are outliers. They're usually brilliant. They think differently from other people, which is why they're so great at directing. But man, a lot of fucked up behavior,
Well, by definition, directors are self-indulgent.
Yeah.
This is their vision.
Yeah.
Their boss. So, and they, get their way, and also, it must be, if you're a successful director, and, Woody Allen is one of the most successful ever, if you're going to judge it by just who has an Oscar even, or, who has a successful career, that has to be a huge ego boost,
And also his audience are intellectuals. They are people that are, I would say, woke for the most part. So charges like this have a much more profound influence on his ticket sales than it would for somebody like Quentin Tarantino.
Right. And I finally tracked down and bought Deconstructing Harry. That's the movie that came out when these accusations really hit.
Yeah.
And as I was saying earlier, I thought I could separate the man from the artist. I'm like, I'll be fine. And when I saw it in theaters, I couldn't. I was like, wow, he is really it felt like he was excusing. He played a horrible guy who cheated like crazy, who slept with his wife's young patient. And that Kirstie Alley scene is so funny.
Amazing. Yeah.
If you can get your hands on Deconstructing Harry, the point is I saw it years later and I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. This is a joke machine and it's hysterical.
All right, let's move on to it. It's the elephant in the living room today, Mike. Sports.
Sports, here we go. There it is.
Welcome to Super Bowl Sunday.
All right.
Holy shit. Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are, I got to double check. Chris, will you double check the point spread right
It's
now
3.
to see if it changed?
I checked it. It's 3
You
now.
sure it's not 3.5?
It opened at 3.5 and it's moved to 3.
Well, it'll be whatever it is at kickoff. We'll check on it because
You
here's the
got
big
it, punk.
question. Here's the question. Scott Smith says, you and Mike should double. Right now, you owe me $200 from a season that began with me saying that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were like fucking 4-12 last year, they sucked last year. I said they're going to go to the Super Bowl this year, and we decided to bet on every single game. What are you laughing at?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
We decided
that
to bet
Tampa
on
Bay is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we decided to bet on every game of the season with me taking Tampa Bay. I even gave you points, which meant that 90% of the games this year I was giving points and still winning $200 off of you. So, all right, Chris is writing that right now the spread is still -3, and he's saying as of right now Trump still won the election? What?
I know. He won't let go. Anyway.
Jesus.
Yeah, fuck SAG-AFTRA. We got it. So
right. This guy says, Scott Smith says, you and Mike should double or nothing on the Super Bowl on that bet. Also, if Brady ever ran for president, he's the type of polished, good-looking, whatever. Who cares? Who cares?
Now, wait a minute. So Tampa Bay's getting 3 points?
Yes.
So clearly, because it opened at 3.5, a lot of bozos like you are pouring their money on the Tampa Bay side of this bet. So they had
85% of the bets have been going to the Chiefs as of yesterday.
Well, then why
it
would
must
it
have
go?
shifted today.
I don't know why it went down to 3 then. That makes no sense.
Well, it might be that there's a couple of Kansas City linemen that were questionable that they announced are not going to be playing.
Oh, Jesus, really?
Yeah.
I mean, after you make it into the Super Bowl, isn't it like a get in this bag, we're going to zip it up, no one is coming in contact with anyone?
Yeah.
70% of the bets coming in are taking the KC spread, says Chris on our Google Doc. All right.
Gary
listen.
Morris says, how are you not offering Mike double or nothing on the 200 is found money. Knowing him, he will bite for sure, and you'll be getting 3 points. Come on, Fitzdog. All right. It's up to you, Mike. I'll go either way. You want to bet? You want to double or nothing?
Of course you're going to do it. Of course you're going to. The worst you come out is not owing me anything. I'll owe you $400.
I know, that sounds like more than I could collect from a friend. It's kind of a lose-lose for me because I can't see taking $400 from you.
You could take it out of our ad revenue, which I still haven't seen because I haven't really asked for it.
Nope.
No?
I can't do that because if I do that, I'm paying taxes on the money that you earned.
Yeah, that's why you're going to do it. So, I don't know. I was thinking 100 would get it down to 100.
Okay.
But boy, will I be pissed. Well, now you're talking about people don't want to hear our sports talk. But Kansas City linemen, I mean, are they out? What the fuck? I don't know what I'm.
That could be an issue because Tom Brady is the guy fucking sits in the pocket. He's not like Mahomes who can fucking scramble in either direction. I mean, Brady ran for 11 yards this year or something. He doesn't run. And if they're going to put more pressure on him than he's used to, oh, wait, no, this is good for him. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, this is good for him then.
Fuck it. Let's do it.
$100 or 200?
200.
Oh, shit. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to make this bet because I started the season loving Brady, and then he took a $1 million PPP check from the government in a year that he got a $50 million contract from the Buccaneers in a year where his wife is worth something like $300 or $400 million. I don't know how many $100 million he's worth. And this motherfucker, when there were small businesses, dry cleaners, delis all around the country, there were a lot of businesses that never got the money because the money got gobbled up by big corporations that had fucking, accountants that went after this dough. So I lost all respect for him when he did that. And I bet he is applying for his second loan now. I'm sure he is. And so I don't want him to win another Super Bowl. So now it's
If I lose, I'll just pay you with all my profits from owning GameStop and AMC, both of which I still own.
Aren't they down this week?
They're only down about 85%.
Yeah, but you're noble. You're noble.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris just wrote in, Tom is worth 200 million, Giselle is worth 400 million. So they've got 600. They needed one more. Did they need one more?
I can't even go there. He's just such a douche.
He's such
perfectly
a douche.
Florida. He's perfectly Florida.
And again, what else could he want in life? He was born gorgeous, a phenomenal athlete, a great personality, and the hottest wife in the world. What does he need $1 million?
It's so stupid.
Yeah. And are we supposed to be cheering for his wide receiver? What's his name? Who beat the fuck out of his girlfriend? Antonio Brown?
I was going to say that doesn't narrow it down.
Allegedly.
All right, fucking
Allegedly.
now I'm watching the Super Bowl. $200, god damn it.
All right.
400, I mean. I just bet $400. Way worse than that because I win zero.
All right, I will let you take it out of your earnings then, because then it's not like really losing 200. It's like losing 150 because I'll be paying taxes on that money.
You and your fucking taxes, which you don't pay, but I get the facade we have to put up here. Let's move on from fucking sports. I hate them.
Okay, let's go on to science.
Yes.
All right, American Airlines Arena in Miami reopens to a limited number of fans for the Heat games. They're bringing out dogs, and they're billing it as
Who let the dogs in?
they're billing it as the coronavirus detection dogs to screen guests and employees. Fans will line up in a screening area, keeping their hands at their sides. The dogs will walk past each person, sniffing them. I guess your hands are to the side so you can't stop. You're stopping from fucking sniffing your balls. If the dog keeps walking, you are clear to enter the arena. If the dog sits next to you, you and your party will not be allowed to enter the arena.
Once again, another great job we hand the dogs. Like, how do you get this
right.
detail? Come on down. You know your incredibly honed, acute sense of smell. We're going to have you smell Florida people a mile long. You're going to smell all these Florida people.
Yeah, who we think have COVID.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, dogs can catch COVID.
Oh, man.
And so so that's great. It's like, you get called up. You're a bomb-sniffing dog, and you're like, my life fucking sucks. Every day my life is in danger, and they're like, now we're going to reassign you. Thank God. Am I looking for pot? Do I get to fucking sniff some nice, sweet weed? Nope. COVID.
In Florida, people.
Redneck COVID. I think they should also train the dogs to sit next to people that have on Oakland Raiders jerseys or Las Vegas Raiders jerseys. They should never be allowed in a game. It's anytime you see a fucking TikTok fight in a football game, one of the guys has a Raiders jersey on.
Raider Nation. They killed fans of the other team in the Coliseum, the Raiders fans.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Well, Raiders.
Oh my God. Imagine I should have written jokes on all the smells. Like what do you smell on Florida people other than not paying child support? Is that a smell?
OxyContin.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, shout out to Chris Denman, who is not only single-handedly keeping the QAnon theories going, but sometimes writes funny jokes for us to use.
Yeah. He puts them in this little doc here, and then I see him when it's too late. All right, here we go. We're still in the science section, so I'm not going to crinkle. Came across this headline. Average human is fatter than an elephant, a unique obesity study reveals. So I don't really have anything on this, but what happened is when I scanned past it, I was like, whoa, wait a minute, that can't be true. But I thought the headline said average human is faster than an elephant. Then I saw fatter, and I'm like, yeah, that's not news.
Average person in Chicago is fatter than an elephant.
Yeah, average O'Hare traveler is fatter than an elephant. So yeah, they did it on the, whatever the measure is for your percentage of body fat. I never really thought of elephants as, I mean, I know that's the go-to that they're fat, but like a hippo is just fucking fat.
Yeah, but dude, hippos are fast as fuck.
Oh, don't underestimate. That's why I said the average human is faster than an elephant. I was like, time out. There's no way.
Yeah. No, there's no way. No, elephants, but hippos in particular, there are, besides crocodiles, they kill more humans than any other animal. And I saw a video of a hippo chasing a boat. They don't have webbed feet. Chasing a fucking boat. This thing must have been going 15 miles an hour in the water. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I know. They're really fast. But we're going to get corrections because I think it's one of the most dangerous, land animals, I guess.
Well,
or
a
whatever,
croc
because,
is a land animal too.
Right, but do you know what the most dangerous animal in the world is? The one who kills the most people?
Is it a snake?
No, not even close.
Spider?
Not even close.
It's not a crocodile. I thought it was a crocodile.
No. You're going to be bummed because you're going to be like, oh, yeah, shit, didn't think about it that way.
Humans?
Oh, that's interesting. But I don't, that's interesting. I don't know. They weren't included in this. They were talking about non-human animals.
Yeah.
It's mosquitoes.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
And goddamn that fucking Bill Gates. God, people like Chris Denman hate Bill Gates. There's so many conspiracy theories about what a horrible guy he is. You know how many
Soros.
You know how many billions of dollars that guy has given to try to control mosquitoes? What have
toilets?
you done? What the fuck have you done? You blogger? What have you ever helped anybody, or have you just put negative fucking energy and lies out there?
He's the mosquito of humans. Jeez. Meanwhile, mosquitoes are killing the most people. And of course, the old joke premise, but bats just went like, hold my beer, like to the mosquitoes. We have quite a launch about to start where we're gonna make up a lot of lost time.
Yeah. Vegas likes bats this year.
What's the over-under? About 500,000 in America alone.
All right, read this next story because I love it.
A potential new male contraceptive is being called, quote, a sperm switch that would allow men to turn their fertility on and off. The biological race between sperm to reach an egg is a fierce and competitive process. Now researchers in Germany, of course, say they have discovered which protein gives sperm the winning edge. Their study has found a molecular switch in sperm. It could also allow men to turn their fertility on and off.
By the way, have you ever read about what happens in a sperm sample when they look at sperm in a petri dish? They fight each other. They literally, it's a fucking battle. You said the number of sperm before. How many sperm are in an ejaculation?
I thought it was between 30 and 800 million or something crazy.
Yeah. And they're all fighting. One of them fucking makes it, and they are all fighting. They literally latch onto each other, and they show you this under the microscope, and one paralyzes another one and then keeps swimming forward. And this is happening throughout you think your cum shot is just a fucking sticky mess on your belly. No, there's battles going on in there.
You can hear them screaming. I do. It's kind of like what people would be like trying to get off a plane that caught fire on a runway. Like it is, I will be stepping all over you to get to that door first.
Yeah. By the way, that screaming, that's the women in the porn movie you're watching.
So I think this is either going to work or it's going to create a superhuman toxic mutation. And because it's in Germany, they're going to have a little name for it called the master race. No biggie. I'm sure Germany won't do anything with it.
Yeah, right. Only the blonde sperm.
Yeah.
The Germans, but although normally German sperm that I've seen in movies ends up landing on a pile of female feces. So that'll take the steam out of you right there.
I wish I could turn my sperm on and off, like, or my, with my sex drive, kind of be like, all right, let's put this in the off position. I got to get some shit done today.
Wait, so basically this is a birth control where it neutralizes the sperm so it's not going to get you pregnant? Is that the
Here's some
idea?
of the technical stuff. Experiments on mice, these poor mice, found the winner, means the winner sperm, carries a set, when they do it this way, it'll carry a set of toxic mutations that poison the rival sperm.
I'm surprised a mouse can even survive getting fucked by a human.
Well, no, it survives because it's the mouse is fucking the women, the human women. So it's not such a bad gig. Other whatever stuff that, the molecular genetic components, boring. And protein called RAC1. Anyway, the molecular switch that propels the sperm forward. So they can flip that switch that propels the sperm going forward is the idea.
So I can imagine the German women like, "Und why are you still coming in my hair if it will not get me pregnant?"
Yeah. Exactly. What? You're pulling out to go on my face, but I thought
No,
we
you got to do the
established-
German accent.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Come on.
I'm now spaced. I was just going to try to do a Mexican accent and claim it as my German one, and I can't even recall that to mind right now. All right, here we go. Business.
All right. Well, I have challenged you to.
Oh, I can put my $400 towards this maybe.
I've challenged you to get on Investopedia, which is a simulated stock market account where we're going to compete against each other. So you're going to do that tomorrow.
All right.
And we're going
I
to.
have
You
four
can buy
stocks that I'm sure will go down. They were hot tips.
Okay.
And should I tell you what they are?
Why don't you save it for the competition, and then you can tell us what they are.
Oh, because what? Our listeners will flood in knowing my track record and buy up these stocks that I'm picking?
Bet against them, folks. Bet against them.
All
you
right,
can't
I have
lose.
4 stocks that are unbelievably affordable, like a couple of dollars. And yeah, so
I actually heard that from Kramer was don't buy expensive stocks right now. Buy the cheap ones. Those are the ones that are going to go up.
wow.
Yeah.
I told you I heard Al Michaels on Dennis Miller Live, like in the late '90s or whatever, and he had gotten bitten a little by Al Michaels, the great sports announcer. He had gotten bitten by the day trading bug a little bit when that was starting, but what he said to Dennis Miller was, "Here's what I've learned, and it's actually working out for me. This is my operating procedure." If I get a hot tip, like a really hot tip, like someone calls me, it's like, there's movement on this and all this. He's like, I short it. He goes, because I know where I am in the pecking order. And I know how many people this call is filtered down through to get to me.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
probably a pump and dump. And so anyway, so that's what I should do with these 4, but of course I'm not. All right.
You going to list them?
No, you said wait till
All
I
right, we'll
buy
wait.
them.
Okay. So.
I didn't buy them yet.
Yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll make our picks. We'll activate our accounts. We'll each start with, I forget how much money they give you. Maybe they give you like a few $1 million.
Oh, good.
And then
I
whoever
don't want to play
has
with anything less.
whoever has more on the 4th of July, 2021, will get, what are we saying, $100? $100 bet?
Yeah, sure. Just put it
Okay.
on my tab. Well, especially when, GameStop, I'll cash out by then, and then I'll be able to pay you.
Yeah, right. Wait, so GameStop, which we talked a lot about last week,
Yeah.
how did it fare this week? Because last Sunday, it was going through the roof.
Well,
You were
remember I
seeing-
could have sold it at 500,
Yes, I remember that. And you
It's
bought it at, what did you buy it at?
360 something.
And you could have sold it at 500. Okay.
And right now I feel good. It's hovering at 60 something. So I feel good. What happened to the cause?
You work so hard. You take so many risks in your career to make this money, and you just flush it away. I have known you for fucking 30 years, and you have never made money in the stock market. And
No.
yet you won't hire a broker. I've sent you my broker's name. He's conservative. He's smart. He's a big wig at UBS. Nope. Won't do it. You're smarter than him.
No, listen, just so people don't think I'm a complete lunatic. I have one because when I was married, I had to get someone like, to put, the whatchamacallit, IRAs, all that stuff, the kids' 529s and all that stuff. So I do have most of money. This is different money, which I shouldn't be playing with because, the career is not going hot and it's going to be money I need. But anyway, it's more of the side, the side money that I shouldn't be doing. I can't justify it except to say I actually have a retirement thing I haven't touched, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So
you want to
bring it
read the
on,
story?
man. Tampa Bay's going down.
Yeah, we'll see.
We don't have to do this story. The new
All right.
AI can detect your heart waves. I don't think we have to do that.
Let's get into this day in history, which, by the way, was suggested by a listener. I can't remember who, as a segment. And it's one of my favorites. In this day in history, February 7th, 1964, the Beatles landed at Kennedy Airport for the first time in America.
Oh, yeah.
And at this point, they had just scored their first #1 hit with I Want to Hold Your Hand. And they came out wearing their mod suits and their pudding bowl haircuts. And there were thousands of screaming fans already. And they said it caused a near riot when they got off the plane. So 2 days later, they did their first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh,
They
boy.
said it was hard to eat. You've seen the clips. You can't even hear them. You
Yeah.
can't even hear them.
Screaming, crying girls, yeah.
And that was it. It was like they say 73 million Americans were watching that, which is 40% of the population at that point.
Wow.
And that was it. That was it. They just, it was they. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, has there ever been? I mean, it was Elvis. Did Elvis happen that big?
Elvis was pretty big. I mean, those were the two stories, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, now what is it? K-pop or like? There is pandemonium. Certainly, there's no shortage of crying girls, but I don't think it. Half of like America was not glued, to One Direction's, arrival or whatever. Like it's not the same magnitude for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So-
amazing, but yet, like the halftime show at the Super Bowl this year, it's some guy I've never even fucking heard of.
Oh, The Weeknd?
The Weeknd.
You
Yeah,
better have guessed. Holy crap.
I know.
But it's like, at least let someone. The Weeknd doesn't play arenas. Sure.
No, he's a Spotify
Staples Center.
star.
I'll give you Staples Center and stuff. But I'm saying there has to be an ability to make a football stadium seem small. That's the magic and charisma of a really good band, or like even Lady Gaga did it. Like I'm not like, oh, get the Stones again, although I'd love that. But it's like get a pro, get a complete
seasoned stadium act. Yeah.
who has a deep, catalog of songs also.
Right. Yeah, I think you also got to take into account your demographic. I mean, some fat guy in Wisconsin who's a football fan, you think he gives a shit about The Weeknd?
Oh, when you said fat guy, I thought you were talking about The Weeknd, because The Weeknd's put on a few lbs. He's changed his name to The Week. There you go, pal.
Although I heard he's hung like a horse. His nickname is Long Weekend.
Oh, is that you created your own setup? Yeah, I don't know. The Weeknd. It's not. I mean, nothing could be worse than I hate Adam Levine and Maroon 5. So that was
do
I was just thrilled that everybody hated their halftime performance last year.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing because there are the people that pop, like Madonna at the age of 40, whatever, just fucking destroyed. And I'm not like a Madonna fan, But I got to respect when somebody, again, has spent 20 years playing arenas around the world and knows how to fucking bring it.
Yeah. And that Prince one, man, you revisit that Prince. You know, I mean, by definition, the most outside the box dude. He played 3 cover songs. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And he made it work.
Right.
He's just amazing. In the driving rain in Miami.
Right.
Go on YouTube. There's a really good special where he, like, the producer called him, is like, listen, it is, have you looked out the window? Like, they already did rehearsal. And now it's like I'm really worried. You have 3 remote, like wireless guitars out, electric guitars out there. Your backup singers have 6-inch heels. It's on Lucite stage, and it just brought all this stuff up. And Prince was just like, I hope it rains harder.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
no, I'm not changing any of the guitars. The girls are not changing what they're wearing on their feet. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Do you remember Michael Jackson's halftime show?
I don't.
I think it was I can't remember how long ago, but that was fucking insane. Wait, what was I going to say? Oh, Prince. Here's the thing about Prince is when I used to work, as you did, at the Ellen DeGeneres Show, back when things were going a lot better. Prince came in. Were you there when Prince performed?
I was not. No, I was not there yet.
So he comes in, and I go to rehearsal, and he plays, usually rehearsal is you play a half a song, you fucking block it out a little bit, you figure out the cameras, got it. Prince played 6 full songs to rehearse. Then he gets on the show. He performs 2 songs on the show, finishes, roll credits, and then Prince says to the audience, do you want to hear some more? And he plays 5 fucking songs. And performs 5 songs.
Right. That
in front of what, 200 people?
Right, is tiny.
Yeah.
It looks big on TV. It is not.
And I'm sitting in the front row next to the director. It was insane.
It reminds me, I love this clip. I've sent it to you before because your son was getting into, Owen was getting into guitar, and I was in a little bit of a Stevie Ray Vaughan wormhole. And Stevie Ray Vaughan on YouTube, just, I guess, YouTube search Stevie Ray Vaughan rehearsal. He comes out for this one rehearsal, and again, you're expecting, like, here's a quarter of the song, maybe even less, or here's the parts that are tricky, where whatever, we choreograph something differently. He just disappears into solos. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember that
And the
clip.
best response of, like, people I texted it to, like, look at this. Someone texted me back, there's always that phrase, do what you love. Then it's not work. Like, Look at this guy, honestly. He's in heaven at a rehearsal. No, it was technically a sound check. It was a sound check for his concert that night.
It reminds me of that Jackson Browne song, The Loadout.
Yeah.
When, like, after the audience is gone, don't pack up my my piano until the very end.
Yeah.
Should we ask Amy?
Let's ask Amy. Here it is.
It's been a long fucking time. People have clamored for it.
I found this morning. I have no material on it, but I thought it was good enough to stand on its own. Dear Amy, I saw it's just right out of the gate. Dear Amy, I saw my next door neighbor in the footage of the rioters at the Capitol on January 6th. After the
best first sentence on an Ask Amy in history.
And really, it should just be, what should I do? But anyway.
Exactly.
But I like hearing about this guy. After the election in November, this neighbor moved out of his house and back in with his mother and got involved in all the Stop the Steal efforts. This is about Chris. That culminated in him traveling to Washington, D.C. and storming the Capitol. After I showed the footage of him to his Biden voting wife, she told me she'd been texting with him during the day, telling him to stay away. By the way, I think it's supposed to mean stay away from the Capitol. It's probably also means stay away from our children. and telling him that it was a federal crime to go inside, etc., but that he'd gone inside anyway. I later heard that he was so excited about seeing himself on this video footage that he's planning to get it made into a photo and have it framed. Do they let you bring framed photos into prison? I guess don't have glass in it. He's been my next door neighbor for 9 years. When his tree blew down, I grabbed my chainsaw and helped cut it up. When my fence blew down, he came over and helped. He's jumped my car battery. I've cut his grass when they're out of town. You know, next door neighbor stuff. I don't know if I should report him or not. On the one hand, if those people aren't punished, they might be emboldened to do something else. I also don't believe the penalty, if any, will be significant. And my fence might go down again, and I want help. They didn't write that part.
Although, no, I do think this relationship is about to become a little less two-sided. It's like, hey, my lawn's looking a little shabby. After you jumpstart my car and fix the fence, you want to grab a mower?
Hey, Bill, the lock on my garden shed. I don't remember the combo. I can't get in. Are you good at getting in things that you're not supposed to get in now? You think you could storm my garden shed?
Yeah. Yeah. I like your new welcome mat, the Constitution.
That's perfect. Yeah. Meanwhile, coincidentally, the paper, which I have not even read, that I'm using to crinkle, the front page, can you see it, is all the people being charged for storming the Capitol. This is front page, Section A, New York Times, Saturday. And it is, these 26 people are among those charged with the most serious crimes, conspiracy or assault. More than 150 others have also been arrested in connection with the attack.
Lock all those motherfuckers up and throw away the key. We got to send a message that this shit will not be tolerated. 5 people died, plus like a couple suicides on top of that from
Law and order.
From police officers. Look, it's just take Chris Denman and put him somewhere where he can't be a harm to others or himself.
Yeah. Don't worry, Chris. This woman who's going to mow your lawn for your 20 to 30-year sentence. She's got it handled. All right, what do we got?
Speaking of letters, here's some letters to the editor. Paris Conway said, "May I answer your poll question after I give you an unsolicited comment? Thank you. You two at Sunday Papers have the ugliest setting of any podcast I watch.
How dare you, Paris?
Which might be both a reason to keep it or change it. The closet was different at first. Now it's just a yawn. Hey, you like green color, Greg? Fine. The pictures? Fine. The spacing? The rest? What happened? I recommend you consult Joey Diaz on your set design." Wait a minute. The spacing. What does that mean? The spacing?
Who wrote this? Rita Rudner? She's trying to do a tight 5 minutes on our backdrops?
Right. I happen to like your backdrop, and I think it's good I think that it absorbs sound, so it sounds good.
By the way, I got this advice. I didn't know what to do. I've never done a podcast, on my own. Like I've always just been a guest somewhere, like basically with you. And I read that closets are great. I didn't think we'd be videotaping them. That is a surprise. So I didn't know that part. So don't watch it then. Just listen to it as it's meant to be. Meanwhile, I just showed you pictures of the New York Times. But just listen to it. How about that, Paris?
This is I say. It finally happened. I listen every week in case this is the week Mike's voice finally gives out.
Oh, boy.
After almost a year of listening to Mike Gibbons finally lost his voice. So
I was sick, and it's back now, and it actually sounds pretty good, I think. So there you go. Who's this? Who are these bitches?
Parker Robinson said, I unfortunately had to turn it off early due to the quality of the podcast this go-around.
Another bitch, Parker.
Mike's voice went out, which made it tough to listen. I would have personally waited a couple days until Mike recovered to hear the podcast. Okay, should we do the Sunday paper on Tuesday? Is that what you're saying?
I'd scream about the Tuesday papers, but I don't want to lose my voice, Parker, if that is your real name. you know, I had to look at it to find a promo to cut from that, and the voice. Listen, yes, of course, it was a bit raspy and stuff, but I think you could muddle through it.
Yeah, can you muddle through Demi Moore in her fine motion pictures?
Yeah, sexy raspy.
This is from C. Fox to back you up a little bit.
All right.
You guys both tell great stories. Greg, I have heard all of yours roughly 18 times between
That's
your
rough.
various
Not
podcasts.
exactly a rough number, but go ahead.
But Mike, you often downplay your stories like you are taking up too much time. But your stories are extremely interesting, and I don't want you to feel so eclipsed by Greg's massive ego that you
Whoa.
think your stories are less worthy. They are not. So stop that. I don't think I'm alone wanting to hear about the nuts and bolts of the Hollywood machine. Yours is a unique perspective. More, please. Keep it up. And please do a live pod in Sacramento. It's really not that big a shithole.
I was flattered till this letter never ended and went on forever. So I don't think C. Fox is a great gauge of what's long or short.
Yeah, this was an edited version of the letter.
All right. So we'll tell more stories from inside the Hollywood machine. We just told a Prince one. How about that?
Let's talk about my massive ego for a moment. Do you ever feel like I am trying to make you feel like your stories are less worthy?
No, occasionally. But as you know, I'll often, and as C. Fox just pointed out, I'll interrupt myself. So I almost always am waiting for an interruption. Like, you stop me from talking already, and you tend to chime in at the exact right moments to do that. Or you'll tag a story with something really funny. Like if I've gone on forever about a movie or something, like, okay, let's get to some news.
Well, I think it's because I'm a stand-up comic, and I'm always so paranoid that people are getting bored for even 5 seconds. And so
Yes.
like on stage, because on stage, if that happens, you can lose them for the rest of the show.
Right.
And I think that podcasting is a different format, and I need to be less tight on the reins.
Well, like you, I have that spirit too. Like in that memorial for my stepmother, it was a big giant Zoom, and there was over 300 people, but probably like 200 boxes or something, or whatever it was. Anyway, I would latch on because I did a little lighthearted jab at my stepmother was Republican, so I did a little lighthearted jab at all the Republicans who were in the Zoom. And I, of course, could only see the death stares coming back at me, like just unmoving, absolutely unimpressed, or didn't think it was funny at all.
Well,
That's all I focused on.
Well, to your defense, they were old.
Yeah.
And there was one guy who was asleep from 5 minutes in until the end of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of like old people with that had put on suits and dresses, and they were sitting in front of oil paintings. There was a lot of that kind of Republican vibe.
Yeah.
But there was also a ton of people that were laughing their asses off. I think it was a cool Irish crowd also.
Yep, there were those. I did peek at this next letter. I liked it.
Sean Hermans says, "Hey Greg, long time listener, first time emailing. I often listen to you and now you and Gibbons while carving spoons."
I thought that was a euphemism.
Carving spoons.
Yeah, like soaking. But all right.
Or turning something on the lathe. You both have made me giggle on several occasions while turning something. These giggles are transformed directly onto my turnings in the form of bumps and spirals, making them difficult to remove. Thankfully, your marathon podcasts allow me ample time to remove these marks with the sanding. And then he goes on to offer me, it sounds like. He says, "I'd be honored if you would accept one of my pieces as a thank you for providing years and years of quality entertainment."
It would be really funny if he sent you one and there's this huge gouge in it, and it's like, that's where all your racist Mexican jokes made me die laughing. That's where you lumped and confused all different types of Asians when you were making fun of them.
All right. This handle here I call misogyny. It's got a couple extra grooves in it. So anyway, he asked for an address. I have a company address. I sent him, so I'll get it. If he wants to send 2, then I'll give one to you. It's up to you.
Let's see.
Sean?
Let's see how Sean does on the lathe.
Okay.
I'm all in. But that's very funny that occasionally he'll giggle and.
This is obituaries. Let's get to the obituaries, Mike.
And that's all, folks.
Okay, here it is. Yeah.
Sad loss for the entertainment world, or you just didn't notice or care. Dustin Diamond passed away this week.
Yeah.
He is the star, one of the stars of Saved by the Bell. He was on it from 88, and then he went to all the different spin-offs. Saved by the Bell turned into the college years, and then there was, I think, and then he Saved by the Bell, the new class. He was like a principal's assistant. Anyway, he was on there for 12 years, and then he went on to try to have a career afterwards that was difficult. He had some film credits. He was in Dickie Roberts' former child star.
Yeah. Spade put him in that.
He made some episodes of The Wonder Years. That's about it. And then he did some reality shows like Celebrity Fit Club and Celebrity Big Brother back in 2013. But his biggest post-Bell achievement was he wrote a book about it, Behind the Bell, and it caused rifts between him and the other cast members that he said included allegations about on-set behavior they said were untrue.
Oh.
I don't remember what he said about them.
He also did some porn.
Did he?
Yeah. Kind of a low point thing. It's a sad story, man. It really is.
Only lower than that was he also did stand-up comedy. I remember him coming to the clubs and being like, that was at a time when people that had been, and it still happens, people that have been shunned from mainstream entertainment go into stand-up, and it really it puts in perspective where stand-up is in the world of
like Jeremy Piven.
Like Jeremy Piven, yeah.
Yeah.
So
doing Odenkirk's agent character that Odenkirk did on Sanders.
Right. So he talks about how frustrating it was that nobody could see past the Screech character, and it was a very sad story. But you know what? He was a fucking TV star for 12 years. Do you know how many people are big stars from 2 years on a show? Maybe 4 years on a show?
Wait, it couldn't have been 12 years.
Between the 3 or 4 different franchises he was on from 88 through 2000.
You know, so I have never, ever seen a Saved by the Bell.
Neither have I.
Yeah. And it's weird. Like, so who's that made for? Is it like after school? I mean, it's really, really stupid, right? I mean, I've seen clips by their lockers and stuff.
I think it's like age 10 through 16.
Huh.
But I think the people that are just younger than us, it's same thing with Full House.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same
and
demographic.
I've only seen clips of Full House, but I know Fallon does these big reunions and there's a real nostalgia thing, and yeah, I guess it's a bit younger than us, but like, you know, yeah, it missed us for sure.
Yeah, like Chris Denman is writing here that it was huge with his age group, that and Mein Kampf.
Yeah, I don't know what that part is. Yeah. Interesting.
So, all right, it's time. You know, we always cheer up after the obituaries, Mike. We do the Sunday Funnies.
Is that what we do?
I wanted to mention a bunch of people have written in about there's a scene from a movie. The movie's called Go.
Yeah.
And Timothy Oliphant, who I fucking love from Deadwood and Santa Clarita Diet more recently, which is a really great show if you've never seen it.
No.
And Katie Holmes. And there's a scene in a diner where they're talking about Family Circus.
Yep.
And it's so goddamn funny.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week. The movies Go. We were having real brain farts remembering names of the movie and that character and the actors.
So, let's do Hagar the Horrible, everybody's favorite marauder hyphen rapist. He's a hyphen. He's a hyphenate.
He is a hyphenate. He's a triple threat. There's probably something else in there too. Well, pillaging.
He pillages as well.
Yeah.
So now the king, the emperor, and his wife, who's not bad looking, she's an 8. They're standing on the porch, and he says, Hagar is demanding 10 pieces of gold. And she says, give it to him. It could be worse. And then you cut down to Hagar, and he's on a horse with a truck on it. And he says, and it says, big haul rentals, 10 gold pieces per day. And he says, it is worse. Really, we didn't need the second frame. We just need to see how fucking petrified she is that Hagar has showed up to the house. The king is trying to he's worried about how many gold pieces he has to give up. She's worried about rape.
Yeah. Yeah, the second frame could have been a lot funnier. Yeah, for sure. Big haul rentals, big haul rape and rentals. That should be the name of the company.
Right. And it's got stirrups and handcuffs on it.
Yeah.
I just picture the 7-year-old reading the Sunday Funny. Hey, Dad, why she looks scared? Why does lady look scared? Here's a Dilbert, because I love Dilbert.
Oh, boy.
One guy's at a laptop. The other guy says to him, Ted, company wants to celebrate you as the first disabled gay person to hold this job. Ted then says, but I'm neither gay nor disabled. And then the guy goes, celebration is next week, so you have plenty of time to fix that.
The funnies, we're going to get to it, but Family Circus surprised me today. It's definitely a newly written one.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Dilbert just went there. All right.
Now we got Andy Capp.
Oh, boy. He's not going to go there.
He's been married a lot of years. I don't know how he pulls it off. You think you're struggling in your marriage. Two guys walking down the street. One guy says, did you see Andy carrying on with that barmaid and the pig and whistle yesterday? Other guy goes, I did. The man is an absolute scoundrel. I wonder if word has gotten back to Flo. In the background, you see Andy has been punched in the face and is falling over backwards while a suitcase is being thrown on top of him. I mean, that's just Sunday morning. That's just every Sunday morning. He's got to somehow make penance for what happened that day. Does it stop him? Does it change his behavior? Fuck no. Handicap goes for it.
It's almost I get the feeling like they're walking home from the bar, but not by the way they said it. But that would be their move too. Daylight, full daylight.
Yeah. I feel sorry for barmaids in London, getting harassed all night by guys like Andy Capp.
They're still around. All right, what are we up to? The circus?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I think they also maybe look a little, I don't know. You think this is a new drawing too? All right, I'm just going to read it to you. So the picture is, we got that kid, the son, and he has the
Jesus Christ, Mike, Billy.
He has this.
He's got yellow hair. It's Billy.
He has a red cap on, and he has the big bottom of the snowman already rolled up, and then the younger brother, or whatever friend, he is doing it with him, and he has the medium, the middle section, but they've paused. And they're leaning on the stuff and they're looking at each other. And then that blonde kid says to him, Dolly said, we can't make a snowman. We need to make a snow person. The best part to me about this, though, is it looks like they're bummed about it. Like, look at the kid, like, what?
Yeah.
That's my favorite part about it is they're not into it. It's just, what? Come on. They're like old men.
Jeff
no,
Keane,
we're not doing that.
Digging in a little bit against political correctness.
Yeah, exactly.
How about that?
I know.
How about instead of a snowman or a snow person, how about a funny character?
Totally. This whole thing's a snow job.
Yeah.
You making money on this damn syndicated cartoon.
Yeah.
The funnies. We should sue them for false advertising.
Well, he spent a little bit more time on this because it's clearly winter and the golf course is closed. so he can spend longer than 15 minutes on his work that week.
Yeah, I know, but boy, there you go. It's annoying. It's annoying. Wait till he gets into pronouns.
Well, we wrap it up. We round it out every week with this. I hope my wife never listens to the podcast so she doesn't.
I think that's a lock.
Inside, you hear Blondie, of course, is in the kitchen cooking something with a fucking apron on. An apron which, by the way, is tied in tight around her waist, only accentuating her shelved bosom.
You're starting to sell me on this whole creepy. She's asking, by she, I mean the guy drawing this is asking for it.
Yes. Thank God there's no pool table in that house.
Yeah.
From the next room, you hear, "No way! Impossible! How can that be? Ridiculous! Come on, give me a break."
Is he buying GameStop? Is that what's going on? That's what was being said in my house.
So now we cut to Herb and Dagwood on the couch, and Dagwood said, "There's another one." Herb says, "No way, that was a late hit." And now they're going, "No, no, no." They're spinning around on their heads. And in walks Blondie, who has somehow made a very quick changearoo and is wearing the sexiest referee outfit you've ever seen in your life. She has on tight white leggings with a black stripe going down it, a sports locker, what do you call it, athlete's foot? She's got on, the referee jersey, but tight.
Or just a referee jersey.
A referee jersey. She is mocking all referees that have ever lived by sticking those tits inside that fucking jersey. And she says, penalty flag, excessive noise, no more yelling for the next 5 minutes. Dagwood and Herb flip their heads around, look at this, are kind of stunned. And then she walks out and she says, "They're disappointed if I don't do that at least once during every Super Bowl." And now these two idiots, while she's still in the room, are looking back at the television set. That is a pair of homosexuals sitting on the couch as far as I'm concerned.
And she committed. Do you see that she threw a flag?
Threw a flag, right.
There's a flag on the ground on the play. But even the vertical stripes, the guy drawing this really, you can see him. You can see that shelf still.
Dude, she looks good. She looks really good in that outfit. And I mean, I'm used to her wearing like soft sweaters and tight skirts, but this outfit, she's playing with gender here a little bit, which makes it even sexier.
Oh boy, it says more about you than her, I think.
All right. Speaking of playing with gender, Mike, don't forget you can order. You should get on Cameo. If you get on Cameo on the app, I will send a message to your loved ones, your friends. Maybe it's their birthday, wedding, or just to say what's up and maybe have me roast them. Go on Cameo and order it today.
That would be funny, like your friends contacting you on Cameo, like, all right, I guess I'll pay you to answer my call. You were going to call me.
It's like, sorry, Bricks.
Tell me what we're doing next Thursday. I need so do I have to pay you to tell me that? Like, come on.
Anything you want to promote, Mike?
God, I thought I had some things, and I don't think so. Think so.
HBO. Get some HBO,
I guess get some HBO. I'll try to think of something in a second. I don't know what it is.
All right, we want to thank the fine folks that make this happen from Midcoast Media, Chris Denman, Beth Hoops, all the other folks over there.
Yep.
And I guess we'll catch you next week. Good luck. I guess I was going to say go Chiefs, but now I got 200 on the line, so I'm going to say go Bucks.
I think the proper way to look at it is you have 400 on the line.
What, You're either
going to get 400 or 0.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
I think we know how this is going to work out.
Yeah, I think. What do you mean? You're going to lose because you always do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you're giving me 3 points. I don't think the points are going to come into play. I think this is going to be such a high-scoring game that somebody's going to win by at least a touchdown.
Hey, I called the McGregor fight just based on their weigh-in. I want to take credit for that. And what I'll say this time, the one instinct I have which might be right. Almost all of them are wrong. So the ones that are right stand out to me as a different type of feeling. But I think Tampa Bay has bigger potential to be bad than Kansas City.
That's exactly right.
And way bigger potential to be bad. And I actually don't think Tampa Bay played that well in their last game. I mean, he was picked off 3 times.
Four interceptions.
Oh, 4?
Plus, he had 2 other ones he threw up into the fucking clouds.
Exactly. He did not, listen, obviously he marched down the field a few times, but he did not look like a Super Bowl champion last week. He just didn't. So that's one thing that's causing me to feel, that's causing me to go out and spend that $400 before game time.
Well, also, Mahomes is just so on top of his game right now. You know, they had some injuries which plagued them towards the end of the playoffs. Everybody's healed. Everybody's on the field. They got a couple linemen that might not be there, but, you know, I think it doesn't matter because Mahomes can run away from anybody anyway. He loves chaos. He loves a broken play. He turns it into something.
All right. Fingers
All
crossed.
Right. We'll see you next week.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.